Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Tonight we have author Kara McDowell with us. Welcome, Kara.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Kara is the author of romantic comedies for adults and teens. Born in the mountains and raised in the desert, Kara spent her childhood swimming, boating, and making up stories in her head. That sounds really great. Now she lives in Mesa, Arizona, where she divides her time between writing, baking, playing board games, and wishing for rain with her husbands and three young sons. Again, welcome. So, when you say three young sons, are we talking like under 10 or teenagers and under?
So I wrote that bio a few years ago. They're not as young anymore. So
Okay.
they're 9, 11, and 13.
Oh my gosh, that's a handful for sure.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are 4 years apart, and I always joke that the universe did that because it was like, you can't handle it any closer than this. Like, you have to have these children far apart or you're not going to make it.
I had three stair step just like you, Kara. So I feel you.
Yeah. I thought when they were toddlers, I was like, oh, well, this is the hardest it will ever be. And now I'm like, oh, I was so naive.
No, now everything smells and it's like 6, 7. I have a 14-year-old boy, so I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And they don't know. They just
They
think it's
don't
funny.
know. No.
Yeah.
And yeah, the smells are a lot. The amount of times I say go put on deodorant a day is a lot.
Yeah. Or like, can you not smell that? Like, how can
Yeah.
you not smell that? Like, what's going on with you today? Yeah, it's so different. I have an older girl and Mindy has older girls too. And I will say my daughter's messier, but my son smells more. Like it's a really weird combination.
My dad, when I was a teenager, used to get on me because my room was so messy all the time. And my
Yeah.
mom was like, well, because I had a brother 2 years older than me. And she's like, well, Kara's room doesn't smell. So she's fine. Like, get
Yeah.
mad at your son. His room reeks because he has like baseball socks under his bed.
Oh my gosh. Do all your boys play sports?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, that's busy, busy. Yeah, our rule is one activity at a time because I don't know how parents do these things where they're like doing dance one night, then gymnastics, and then softball. And I'm like, I just don't understand how you live. I guess you don't. I guess you don't do anything else.
Even one activity at a time, it still like takes up our entire life because
Yeah.
with 3 kids, I'm like, that's all we
They
do.
outnumber you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
They do.
It's overwhelming sometimes.
Well, let's talk about something you get to do that maybe relieves the stress a little bit, and that's your baking. So, is this stress baking that we're talking about? Like, are we talking a sourdough starter, desserts only? Like, what's your baking style, and how often do you get to do it?
Yeah, so it's desserts and homemade bread. I've recently started sourdough, and at first it was so fun, and now I'm like, whew, that's a lot of work for one loaf of bread. But I started making sourdough English muffins with the discard, which is
Ooh,
so much easier, and my kids devour them. So I'm doing a lot of English muffins. Cinnamon rolls are like anytime we have a birthday or a holiday. Um, I'll do the cinnamon rolls and homemade bread as often as possible, just because I would rather eat nothing else than like a warm piece of homemade bread with them.
yeah. Yeah. Do you bake to de-stress or do you just bake because it's there and you can?
A little bit of both, but it definitely started as a stress thing with the homemade bread when my kids were little. And I was just doing mom stuff all the time. And then I would get them down for a nap and wanted to do something for me. And that, took up my energy and my like a little bit of creativity. And it took a little bit of brain power to teach myself how to make homemade bread. So that's where I
Why didn't I think to just add carbs? Like, I think I would have been a lot happier. Like, I'm like that.
Yeah,
We need to tell all new moms, start baking carbs because you'll feel better about everything.
truly. And then you just
Yeah.
ignore the dirty dishes and everything is
Yeah,
fine.
because you made homemade bread. Who else made homemade bread that day? No one else. Yeah. So your bio mentions making up stories all the time as a kid. What kind of stories would you create? And were they for an audience? Were they just for you? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my elementary school had a publishing shop, so we could write stories, and then when we had free time in the classroom, we could go down to the publishing shop, and they had like a book binding machine and ways to decorate the cover, like puffy glitter paint,
Ooh.
um, and all sorts of stuff. So I have a giant stack of these books that I wrote probably fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. But then also I spent a lot of time just daydreaming. And I talked about I grew up on a boat, and so I would spend hours on the weekends just sitting on a boat. And like in my head, I was creating stories and just daydreaming. And usually they were romance related, especially as I was a teenager. We would be on the lake, and I'm like, I'm gonna meet like a cute boy from a different family, and we're gonna like meet eyes across the lake and fall in love. So it was a lot of that type of stuff.
I think I want to read that story.
I
That sounds
know.
really great. Is that going to be in your toolbox at some point, you think, to write about a love story across the lake?
Well, I do. I did one of my YA books takes place at Lake Powell, which is one of
Mhm.
my favorite places ever. And so I did get to like sneak a lot of those things that I daydreamed into that one.
Oh, I love that. I grew up on Lake Mead in Las Vegas. You know, that's where they're like finding all the dead bodies now because that lake is starting to go away. And I'm like, oh my God, I swam in that like all the time. Just literally swimming with the fishies, all those dead
Oh,
bodies at the bottom.
Ugh.
a little less
So,
romantic.
yeah, yeah, for sure. You weren't gazing across that lake. It was
Mm-mm.
like sand dunes, and that was about it. So your debut romance novel, The Write Off, which I'm currently reading and really loving, releases on April 7th, which is actually when this is going to come out. So what can readers look forward to when they pick up the book?
Yeah, it's a dual timeline. So at every other chapter, there's a present timeline, and the next one will be in the past. And it's about these two people who meet freshman year of college in their writing class. And it's sort of like a friends to maybe they're turning into something more. But then when they meet in the present day, they can't stand each other. They're rivals at this point. She wants nothing to do with him. So as you read and they meet at a book festival, and they're both published authors, and they've had something that's happened in their past, but you kind of have to read to find out what that is. Um, and it's a slow burn, but there's a lot of yearning and a lot of angst, and forced proximity, and just like a lot of my favorite tropes I got to put in this one.
I really,
I love books about books. That's
yeah.
like one of my favorite things is books about writing or books. And so I'm already sold.
Oh.
Well, I'm really loving all of her, like her imposter syndrome, because Mindy in this book, she is like a renowned fantasy author. And every time someone like walks up to her to talk to her, she's like, "Me? Who? Me?" And then like they'll leave and she's like, I'm surprised they wanted to come up to me. And all the other authors are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But like I love that because she's like made it, right? And she still is like, why would anyone want to read my stuff? And I think any creative can relate to that.
Yeah, and there's also at the end of the book, she sort of goes through something in her career, and it's like a little bit of a crisis. And it's this thing that I, without spoiling it, it's like between her and her fans. So that is, in the present day, she's a little bit like she knows that there are still fans who are really mad at her for something that she's done. So it really puts her on her guard.
Okay, so several weeks ago you posted a Valentine teaser for the write-off that I want to talk about. It said, Dear Margot, roses are red, ink stains are black. Mars, darling, bra off on your back. Is this the kind of spicy vibe like we're gonna get more of? Can you tell us about the chemistry between the main characters?
Yeah. So it is an open door romance, so there is some spice in there. And I'm
Woo!
actually really proud of my trade reviews that I've gotten from Booklist and Kirkus because they both called out that the chemistry is really intense between these characters. And so I'm like, yay, I did my job. But it's they meet each other and they just sort of bond instantly over this writing class that they're taking together. And at the time, West, the male main character, he doesn't even know he wants to be a writer yet. It's not really something he's done before, but he sees how passionate Mars is about it. And he like wants to impress her and he just like gets kind of sucked into her world. Um, and they both like are just so drawn to each other and it's sort of like a chemical thing and even as they go throughout their lives and date other people which is not on the page but it's sort of referred to Mars is just like there's no one who has ever made her feel the way that he does so when they come back together in the present day it's not long before sparks start to fly.
Oh, I love that. I get the feeling too that she's a little long-term irritated with him that he's like so good at his job and he wasn't even sure if he wanted to do it. And that's like all she wanted to do. And I
Mhm.
can relate to people like that. I'm like, why are you having like all this success? You weren't even sure you wanted to do this or not, right? And so I think she's kind of like, you could have sucked and you didn't. I kind of wish you would have.
Yeah, and also that people automatically take him a little bit more seriously than her because he writes like literary fiction and she's a romantasy fantasy author. And so,
Yeah.
it's something he's just sort of stumbled into and she's like, "You're so good at it." And everybody thinks that you're like so pretend or so like important because of what you write. Whereas my books, some people write off as just like silly little romances.
You know what? I think, fantasy and romantasy and really romance too. Like, if you can build a world that I've never seen before and get me to believe it, that's really good writing, right? I prefer to have to learn about a world. My husband reads literary fiction, so that's why I was laughing when you said that. Because if we were writers, we would be those people. Like one time he goes, "Have you read?" And I said, "Does it have a vampire in it?" And he said, "No." And I was like, "Then no, I've not read that book. I'm sorry." Do they kiss? If they don't, I don't want to read it. So yeah, like it's just so funny how like it's almost opposites attract because Mindy and her husband are like that too. He doesn't really read for enjoyment either. Yeah. Does your husband read, Kara?
Not really. A same
Yeah.
kind of the same vibe, same situation. So I just read all my romances and I just am on my Kindle every night and he's like, "Are you happy?" I'm well, good for you.
Mindy, you're up, babe.
All right. So we're going to start what we call the nerdy and dirty speed round. These are just some like rapid fire questions that don't always end up being rapid fire. So, just speak from the heart, I guess. So, first one, if you were going to get matching tattoos with your partner, like your MMCs, what would you want it to be?
So this is actually a very funny question because I got my first tattoo ever last weekend. When I was,
Really?
yes, I was down in Tucson at the Tucson Festival of Books, which is the book festival that they are at in this book. And so because they had matching tattoos and I've always wanted a tattoo, I'm like, I'm gonna go get one. So it's a feather quill, and which I was like, because I'm a
Oh.
and my characters are writers. But they get orange blossoms in the book, which is sort of symbolic to them. And also, I love orange blossoms and they smell so good. So I'm like, I could also see myself ending up with an orange blossom tattoo before too long.
Where did you put it?
It's like it's under my ribs.
Oh, I love that. How
I do too.
pretty. Yeah,
Love it.
Mindy and I, our body's a canvas, so you can't tell on screen, but we're pretty covered up over here. I
I I have a feeling that I'm gonna be like one of those who's like gets one and then 8 months from now I'm gonna have like 10.
Oh,
It
you
is so
will. It
addictive
is.
for
Yeah, it
sure.
is. Well,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I saw something the other day that was like, my first tattoo is so symbolic and all this, and then it's like 20th tattoo. This is a raccoon smoking a cigar. And I was like, yep, that's really how it starts to be after a while. And now with all the book festivals doing flash tattoos, it's like the perfect souvenir.
Yeah.
I know it really, really is. Yeah, I love the idea. I know some authors who get a tattoo for every book that they publish. And so I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I could see myself doing that. But then also I could just see myself being like, oh no, that's pretty. Put some,
Yeah.
slap some flowers on me.
Yeah, exactly. You need the orange blossoms, I think.
Yes, yes, 100%. So, Kara, when you were a kid, what did you name your favorite stuffed animal or toy?
So this is actually, so it was a duck, but it was like flat. It was 2D, which is hard to explain. So it was like a picture of a duck printed on like a flat, um, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, it was my mom's when she was little, and his name was Yankee, but I couldn't say that, so I called him Anky. So it was this duck named Anky that I took everywhere with me, and he now has like duct tape wrapped around him. He is so old, but I
Oh,
will keep him
I
in
love
my
that you still have it.
forever. Yes, and he's too like I never even gave him to my kids because I'm like he's too close to falling apart, so
Yeah.
I can't.
Yep, I can
Okay,
understand that.
so if you could be best friends with a character from any animated show, who would you choose?
So my family has been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers lately. I don't know if you guys know that show, but I automatically thought about Tina and her. She has her little romantic daydreams, which I was thinking about because that's exactly how I was when I was her age. And she's like a horse girl, and she's always imagining herself riding a horse into the sunset with like the neighbor boy who doesn't even know she's alive. And so I was like, I like your vibe. That's
I love
I
that.
don't watch that show, but I feel like I would enjoy it.
You would.
it's very
Yeah. What is your favorite genre of book as a reader?
Definitely contemporary romance. That's what I write, and that's what I've been loving a lot for the past several years. And I do like to read fantasy. That is, especially when I'm drafting, I like to read a fantasy because it's sort of separate from my work. And
Right.
anything that's too close to my work, it just sort of starts to get in my head, and I feel like, wow, I'll never write anything as good as this book that I'm reading. So when I can read fantasy, it like feels like very separate worlds. But yeah, definitely fantasy, romantasy, and then contemporary romance.
What's been
Awesome.
your favorite book in the last year or so?
Oh, that is a that's a
I know
question.
I'm
Just
putting you on the
A
spot.
loaded question.
yes. Okay, so contemporary romance, Sophie Cousins has this book called Is She Really Going Out with Him? And the main character, she's a little bit older than a lot of main characters we see. She's in her late 30s. She's divorced. She has kids. And as I get older and my kids grow up, I like to see main characters that like are a little bit more my age and they've been through a lot. And I just think that there's something really special about like finding love again when you think that, it's never going to happen for you again. And also, it was very funny, and I just really love that one.
Oh,
Well,
okay. I'll
that
put
one
that on my TBR.
just, yeah, that one just moved up my TBR. It's actually on my physical TBR. I just finished listening to recently her Just Haven't Met You Yet, which was really cute as well. I really enjoy her writing. So that one just moved up my TBR for sure.
If you like the second chances like that, Kara, like as someone's older and like, well, these aren't even super older, but like in their 30s, and for contemporary romance, that's old,
Yeah.
unfortunately, as all of
Mhm.
us sit here in our 40s. But um, the Tara DeWitt wrote a book last year. What was that one that we really loved, Mindy?
Left of Forever.
Yeah, Left of Forever, and it's about a. Did you read it, Kara?
No, but
Okay.
it's literally sitting on my physical TBR
Okay.
next to my bed.
So they had a high school pregnancy and got married and got divorced, and their kid is going off to college, and they decide to do a road trip after he goes to college to try to rekindle. And it's an amazing book. I
It's
love
so
second
good.
chance romance, and I love seeing people like come back together that are like meant to be, and that one has like really stuck with me. I love that book.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to move that one to the top of my because I have been looking at it and it does sound like everything that I love in a book. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I really need to.
Very well done. Yeah. So, our final nerdy and dirty question is, what is bringing you the most joy in life right now?
Oh, that is a really great question. And I don't want to make it all book related, but this book is coming out in a few weeks and I am like very much fully focused on that, and that's kind of taking up my whole life. So I'm gonna say, getting ready for this book release, but also watching my kids play baseball is always like very, very fun. It's a way to like just stop thinking about the stress of writing and promoting and stuff like that for a few hours and watch them do something they love. So I'm
Do
gonna
you
say
have a group of baseball mom friends, or are you reading your Kindle at games?
It depends on the day, and sometimes I'm writing, but there is a group of us who our kids have played together for a while, so
Mhm.
we'll occasionally have to travel together. So yeah, we know how to have fun.
Good.
I'm not a sportsy person at all. I never grew up playing sports, but my middle loved to play any sport, and she played field hockey, and I ended up being like the biggest field hockey fan ever. Like it was something about your kids playing makes you a fan of whatever they're playing.
Yes, and suddenly I know every rule like that there ever was, and I'm like, I never thought, and I'm so invested, and yeah, it's a lot, but it's
I
fun.
never understood how parents could get in fights at games until I had my own children. And it's never like the kid did something wrong. It's always the parent that's misbehaving that upsets other
Mhm,
parents. Like it's
mhm.
never the kid. And I'm like, you need to behave. Like, why are we doing this? Right. And I don't have any chill, so I can't keep my face straight at all.
No, I've seen parents kicked out of games by umpires. I've seen coaches occasionally ejected. And yeah, every time I'm removed from the situation, I'm like, whoa, this is a 10-year-old's baseball game. You need to calm down. And then when I'm like observing it and I'm sort of involved, I'm like find myself getting all riled up too because it's hard
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah. You got to take care of your kids.
Yeah.
I'm a bear.
hmm
So, where can readers and listeners connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is karajmcdowell.com. That's really easy, and that has links to my socials on Instagram. It's Kara J. McDowell Books. It's the same on TikTok, but I don't know what's going on over on TikTok.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm with you on
It's
that. We decided not to grow that page because we were just too worried about it. I don't want to build up a whole audience on there and then it like not be usable or be
yeah.
tracked somehow or something.
Yeah, it's almost unusable right now as it is. Like it's impossible to even figure out how to do what the algorithm wants.
Mhm.
But so mostly Instagram. I've stayed off of Threads thus far because once Twitter was gone, I was just like, maybe my mental health will be better if I'm like not constantly scrolling for,
Threads is
thing.
Yeah.
addictive. It is these like hot takes that people have and like everyone tells their stories underneath it. It I call it like an anti-job. Like it is so addictive. And yeah, and especially if you've gotten into any fandoms, there's like little communities and stuff you can join. So I would say while you're working on your release, I would not join it currently. It might stress you out.
That is good advice. But when I was at the Tucson Festival of Books this weekend, I went to dinner with all the romance authors,
Mhm.
and they were all talking about all this like gossip from the
Yeah.
industry and from other authors. I'm like, wait, how do you know all this? And they're like, oh, it was on Threads. And so I'm like, oh, I'm missing everything.
Yeah. It, it's where you can ask like questions that you can't say on Instagram. Like we had an author I'd never heard of. We posted a 5-star review on Instagram today, and she was not in the same genre as this author. It's an author we've never talked to, and commented, if you like dragons and this and this and this, you need to go read my book. And I was like, that is really icky to comment on someone else's like release day post. And we gave it 5 stars. So I went to Threads and I was like, authors, am I being too sensitive? And so I've not checked to see what everybody said yet, but
Interesting.
it felt gross. I didn't like
Yeah.
it. I felt like she was piggybacking off of someone else's like good
It's
day.
kind of violating,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
you
So
know?
Yeah. And it's just like I feel kind of tone deaf, and I feel like it's not going to make anybody, want to read your book. So,
right.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, maybe her PA or publisher can talk to her about it.
So I'm assuming that we can buy your books on your website. Is there anywhere else that we can buy all things Kara McDowell?
Yes. So anywhere books are sold online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, it should be in Barnes and Noble on release day. And if your indie carries it, that'd be great. You can always request that your indie order it for you. And the indies in my community and in Phoenix and in Tucson have been really supportive of me, which is great. But yeah, anywhere books are sold, you should be able to order a copy.
I'm putting a
Awesome.
note on because we have an awesome local romance
Mhm.
indie and I need to see if they're going to carry it or not.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have any? I know you were talking about, was it the Tucson Book Festival that you were just going, that you just went to? Do you have any other upcoming conventions or events that you'll be signing at or just talking?
Yeah, I also want to say, sorry, the last question is I always like to tell people if they're looking for my book, that one easy way to maybe get it is to go, if you use the Libby app, you can go into the Libby app and request that your library buy a copy, which is what I do
Mm,
all the time. And you put a little notification, it'll like you click notify me, and then you'll get a notification if your library buys the copy of it. So that is a really great way to support authors without having to spend any money.
That's great. I
I
think I'll
love that hack.
do
I had
that.
no idea. Yeah.
I'll do that when I email the bookstore tonight.
Yeah, thank you. But then other than that, there is a Prescott Valley Book Festival near my house in May, which I'm going to be at. And then hopefully I'll be at some conventions in the fall, but I'm still sort of crossing my fingers and waiting to see what happens.
Well, we would love to hear about it if you have somewhere in the fall, because we would love to tout those for you. And so, our final question on our podcast, we always end some of our weekly episodes with what our nerdiest thing of the week is. And sometimes it's book related, most times it's book related, but it doesn't have to be. So we just would love to know what your nerdiest thing of the week is, or month, or recent.
If I say fanfic, are you going to make me tell you what I'm reading?
We'll ask offline. How's that sound?
There you go.
Okay, so yeah, I that's another thing when I'm drafting or when I'm working on something and I just need something that doesn't feel close to my work, but is, easy to get into and quick to go through. I find myself on AO3 occasionally.
Nice. Some good stuff's come out of AO3.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same thing with Wattpad back in the day. Some good authors have come out of that.
Well, there are some amazing writers and they're just like churning out 200, 300, 400,000 words like it's nothing. And meanwhile, I'm like dying at my keyboard every day. So I'm impressed.
Uh,
They don't have
well,
deadlines though.
right, right. They're doing it
Yeah,
just for
it
fun.
must be it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us. Again, April 7th for the write off. You can find it everywhere books are sold. Make sure you call your local indie. Make sure you request it at your library. And we'll be putting our review up of it as well. So thank you for being here, Kara.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. We'll see you soon.
So good to meet you.
You too.
Bye.